She was born on the holiest day of the Jewish year, Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement, the 12th of October, 1891, in the city of Breslau, in what was then the German Empire, today the Polish city of Wrocław. She was the youngest of 11 children, born to a devout Orthodox Jewish family. Her widowed mother kept a kosher home, kept the Sabbath, taught her children the prayers of Israel. The girl's name was Edith Stein. She would grow up to become one of the most brilliant philosophers of her century. The first woman to study and serve as senior assistant to the German philosopher Edmund Husserl, the founder of the philosophical movement called phenomenology. Her doctoral dissertation on the meaning of empathy was given the highest honors a German university could give. She would also grow up to be a Catholic, a Carmelite nun, a martyr of the Holocaust, killed at Auschwitz in 1942. In 1998, Pope John Paul II canonized her. In 1999, he named her one of 3 co-patronesses of Europe. Her religious name in Carmel was Teresa Benedicta of the Cross. Teresa, after the great Spanish mystic. Benedicta, the Blessed One. Of the Cross, by her own choice. This is her story. The Jewish philosopher who became a Catholic saint. The daughter of Israel the Catholic Church embraces as one of her own. The hidden mother of every Catholic who has ever wrestled, in honesty, with the relationship between faith and reason, between the synagogue and the church, between truth and the cross. Edith Stein was a serious child and a serious student. By her teenage years, she had stopped believing in the Jewish God of her childhood. She was an atheist. She told her mother. Her mother was heartbroken and respected her honesty. She studied at the universities of Breslau, Göttingen, and Freiburg. At Göttingen, she encountered Edmund Husserl, the most influential German philosopher of the early 20th century. Husserl taught a method called phenomenology, the careful, patient analysis of conscious experience as it is actually lived, not abstract speculation, not crude empiricism, the middle path, the philosophy of how a thinking subject actually meets the world. Edith Stein was electrified. She wrote her doctoral dissertation on the philosophical concept of empathy, specifically on what it actually is to know that another human being is also a person, with a soul, with thoughts, with their own first-person experience. Empathy, she argued, is not a clever theory we apply to other minds. It is a fundamental human act, a direct, intuitive grasp of the personhood of the other. She submitted the dissertation in 1916. Husserl gave her the highest possible mark, summa cum laude, highest praise. She became Husserl's senior assistant. She was the first woman in German philosophy to hold such a position. She edited Husserl's manuscripts. She debated with the young Martin Heidegger. She published her own work. She tried in 1919 to apply for the next academic credential, the Habilitation, which would let her lecture as a professor in her own right. She was rejected, not because of her work, because she was a woman. The German universities did not yet allow women that credential. She wrote a sharp letter of protest. She lost the appeal. But the letter contributed, slowly, to a change in the rule a few years later. Other women, with her precedent behind them, became the first female Habilitationsträgerinnen in German philosophy. She herself, in those years, was searching. She was an atheist. She was a brilliant philosopher. She was a friend of phenomenologists who were Christians. She was reading. She was wondering. In the summer of 1921, she was visiting friends, the Conrad Martius family, in Bergzabern. They were also philosophers, also Christians. The Conrad Martiuses had a library. One night, alone in the library, she pulled a book off the shelf, almost at random. It was the autobiography of Saint Teresa of Ávila. She read it through the night. By morning, she had finished. She closed the book. She said simply, "This is the truth." On the 1st of January 1922, Edith Stein was baptized Catholic. Her mother wept. Her brothers thought she had lost her mind. She herself felt, in her own description, that she had not abandoned the Jewish people. She had recognized the Messiah of Israel. She wrote in a letter that for her, conversion was not a leaving, but a coming home. She continued to study. She continued to write. She translated the works of St. Thomas Aquinas, including major texts of Thomistic metaphysics, from Latin into German. She lectured. She taught at a Dominican school for girls in Speyer. She published philosophical and theological essays. Her work began to integrate Husserl's phenomenology with Thomistic philosophy. She was, very slowly, becoming one of the great Catholic philosophical minds of the 20th century. In 1933, the Nazis came to power in Germany. Edith Stein, like every Jew in Germany, was now in danger. The Nazi racial laws barred her from teaching at any German university. Her academic career, the public career she had been carefully building for 15 years, was over within months. She had been considering Carmelite religious life for years. With the Nazi laws, the moment was clear. She wrote to the Carmel of Cologne. She asked to enter. On the 14th of October, 1933, Edith Stein, age 42, walked through the doors of the Carmelite convent of Cologne. She received the religious name Teresa Benedicta, a Cruz. Teresa, blessed by the cross. Inside Carmel, she did not stop thinking. She wrote her major philosophical theological work, Finite and Eternal Being, a synthesis of phenomenology and Thomistic metaphysics. It was not published in her lifetime. In 1938, the Nazi terror against Jews accelerated. Kristallnacht happened in November of that year. The Carmel of Cologne, fearing for Edith's life, arranged her transfer to the Carmel of Echt in the Netherlands. She arrived there on New Year's Eve, 1938. Her sister Rosa, also a Catholic convert, joined her later in the convent compound. For 3 years she lived in Echt. She prayed. She wrote. She continued working on her treatise on St. John of the Cross, The Science of the Cross, which she would not finish. The German army occupied the Netherlands in 1940. On the 26th of July 1942, the Catholic bishops of the Netherlands took a courageous step. They issued a public pastoral letter, read aloud in every Catholic parish in the country, denouncing the Nazi treatment of Jews. They named the persecution. They condemned it. They did this knowing the Nazis would retaliate. The retaliation came on the 2nd of August 1942. The SS arrested every Jewish-born Catholic in the Netherlands, 243 of them. The Nazis specifically targeted the Catholic Jews because the bishops had spoken. The SS came to the Carmel of Echt that afternoon. They arrested Edith Stein and her sister Rosa. Edith, according to the testimony of her fellow Carmelites, took her sister's hand and said calmly, "Come, Rosa. We are going for our people." The two sisters were taken to a transit camp in the Netherlands, then to another, then put on a train to the east. The Auschwitz transport records list them on the convoy of the 7th of August, 1942. They almost certainly died in the gas chambers of Auschwitz-Birkenau on the 9th of August, 1942. Edith Stein was 50 years old. Her sister Rosa was about 59. 45 years passed. In 1987, Pope John Paul II travelled to Cologne. He celebrated Mass in the Great Cathedral in front of 100,000 people and beatified Sister Teresa Benedicta of the Cross. He called her a daughter of Israel and a daughter of the Catholic Church. 11 years later, in October of 1998, the same Pope canonized her in Rome. In his homily, he made the position of the Catholic Church explicit. Edith Stein, he said, lived and died as a daughter of the Jewish people. She was murdered because she was Jewish. Her cross was united, in that moment, with the cross of Christ. Her martyrdom was both a martyrdom for her people and a martyrdom for the faith she had embraced. The next year, on the 1st of October, 1999, Pope John Paul II named her co-patroness of Europe. So why does St. Teresa Benedicta of the Cross matter, 8 decades after she walked into the gas chamber? She matters because the Catholic Church refuses to forget the Holocaust, and she is the saint who teaches us that. 6 million Jewish lives were stolen by an industrial machine of human evil. The Catholic Church, in canonizing Edith Stein and naming her co-patroness of Europe, takes that grief and that horror and places it permanently at the heart of how she understands the 20th century. She matters because the Church places no contradiction between her Jewishness and her Catholic faith. She was a daughter of Israel and a daughter of the Church. Both, to her last hour. The Catholic Church, in this saint, makes that absolutely clear. She matters because her philosophy still teaches. Empathy, the dignity of the human person, the integration of faith and reason, the capacity of the human mind to recognize truth wherever it appears. Phenomenology and Thomism, Husserl and Aquinas. She is one of the very few minds in the 20th century who held all of that together. If you want to honor St. Teresa Benedicta of the Cross, do one small thing for her. Find any of her writings online. There are good Catholic translations from ICS publications. Read one essay. Read her letters from Carmel. Read her last work, The Science of the Cross. Pray for her intercession on the 9th of August, the anniversary of her death. Edith Stein, daughter of Israel, daughter of the Catholic Church. Philosopher, Carmelite, co-patroness of Europe, the hidden mother of every Catholic who has ever stood at the edge of human suffering and refused to look away. Subscribe for more hidden mothers of the Church. There are many more women whose names the centuries tried to forget, and we are bringing them back one Sunday at a time.